The diplomatic chamber aboard the Zenith Coalition flagship hummed with artificial gravity as Leo Chen stood before the assembled council of alien dignitaries, his human uniform crisp utilitarian, bearing the insignia of Earth's exploratory cause felt suddenly inadequate among the ornate ceremonial armor and bioluminescent robes surrounding him. Ambassador Chen, the Korthax Prime Minister began, his three eyes blinking in sequence. Your service in negotiating the Outer Rim peace accords has earned you great honor among our people. As is our custom, we present you with a mate from our finest warrior caste. Leo's translator implant struggled with the word mate, gift, wife. The door slid open with a hiss, and she entered. Hazel was not what Leo expected. She stood nearly 7 feet tall, her skin bearing the deep bronze tone of the Korthax heavy warriors, marked with ceremonial scars that told stories Leo couldn't yet read. Her hair was bound in warrior's braids, threaded with metal rings that clinked softly as she moved, but it was her eyes startlingly human-like, despite her alien heritage that held him frozen. They burned with barely contained fury. "I am Hazel Cawthorn," she announced, her voice carrying the weight of gravel and thunder, "daughter of the Red Cliffs, undefeated in 53 challenges, and I refuse this arrangement." The council chamber erupted in shocked chittering and clicking. The Prime Minister's skin flushed an alarmed purple. "Hazel, you dishonor your lineage. The human saved countless Korthax lives. Then let him prove himself worthy," she said, turning those fierce eyes on Leo. "Your customs say I must accept a mate of higher standing. Very well. Defeat me in single combat, human, and I will honor the bond. Otherwise, I remain unbonded and unbroken." Leo felt every alien eye in the room turn toward him. His training had covered first contact protocols, diplomatic negotiations, even cultural sensitivity regarding cross-species reproduction rights. But ritual combat, that was conspicuously absent from the manual. "I accept," he heard himself say. Hazel's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Tomorrow, then, in the arena, may your gods grant you a swift defeat." Ambassador Leo spent that night in the human quarters, researching Korthax combat traditions and running combat simulations against opponents with 3 times his mass and strength. The computer gave him a 2.7% chance of victory in direct combat. "You're going to get yourself killed," his aide, Commander Park, said flatly. "Their warrior caste trains from childhood. Hazel Cawthorn is legendary even among her own people." "Then I'll have to fight smarter, not harder," Leo replied, studying the arena's. "Humans didn't become the dominant species on Earth by being the strongest. We adapted, we innovated. She's not a mammoth, Leo. She's a trained warrior with reflexes twice as fast as yours, which is why I'm not going to fight her the way she expects." The arena was a converted cargo bay, its walls lined with spectators from a dozen species. Hazel waited in the center, clad in minimal armor that left her scarred arms and legs free for movement. She held a shock staff, its ends crackling with blue energy. Leo entered wearing his standard-issue environment suit, no armor, no visible weapons. The crowd murmured in confusion and anticipation. "Are you surrendering already, human?" Hazel called out, but Leo heard something else beneath the mockery. "Curiosity, perhaps." "I'm fighting smart," Leo replied, circling slowly. "On Earth, we have a saying, the bigger they are, the harder they fall." Hazel lunged with speed that defied her size, the shock staff whistling through the air where Leo's head had been a microsecond before. He rolled, came up running, using the arena's support pillars for cover. "Stand and fight," Hazel roared, smashing a pillar to twisted metal with a single strike. But Leo had no intention of standing still. He'd studied her people's combat traditions and found their weakness. They valued direct confrontation above all else. Their warriors were trained to dominate through strength and skill, not tactical adaptation. He triggered the first of his preparations. The arena's environmental controls, which he'd convinced the technicians to allow him to program as atmospheric preference, began releasing a fine mist. Nothing toxic, just water vapor that would condense on cold surfaces, like the floor beneath. A heavy welder's heated body. Hazel's next charge ended with her boots skidding on suddenly slick deck plating. She caught herself, but Leo was already moving, using his smaller size to dart inside her guard. He couldn't overpower her, but humans had learned millennia ago that every joint had a weak point. Every stance had a counter. He struck at the back of her knee knot with strength, but precision. Hazel stumbled, surprised. Leo was already gone, sliding beneath a horizontal shockstaff swing that would have shattered his ribs. "You fight like prey," Hazel said, but there was no disgust in her voice now. "Running, hiding. I fight like a human," Leo corrected, breathing hard. "We spent 100,000 years being weaker than everything that wanted to eat us. We learned to use our minds." He triggered the second phase. The arena lights shifted spectrum, moving into the range where human eyes adapted for Earth's specific star. Clearly, but Korthak's eyes, evolved under a red giant, struggled to adapt quickly. Hazel blinked, momentarily disoriented. Leo pressed his advantage, not with attacks, but with movement that forced her to constantly adjust, to compensate, to burn energy at a rate her heavy world physiology wasn't designed for under standard gravity. Minutes became a grueling quarter hour. Hazel's strikes remained powerful but grew marginally slower. Leo's body screamed with exhaustion, but his mind stayed sharp, calculating, adapting. Then he saw the opening he'd been working to. Hazel overextended on a thrust, committed too much weight forward on the slick floor. Leo didn't try to block or dodge. Instead, he did something completely unexpected in Korthak's combat philosophy. He helped her momentum along, a precisely timed pull at her extended arm, a foot placement that gave her nothing to brace against, and physics did the rest. Hazel Cawthorn, undefeated warrior of the Red Cliffs, crashed to the arena floor with Leo's foot pressed lightly against her throat. The arena fell absolutely silent. "Yield," Leo said quietly, offering his hand. For a long moment, Hazel stared up at him, shock and something else warring in her expression. Then she laughed, a deep, genuine sound that echoed off the walls. "I yield," she said, clasping his offered hand. "You fight without honor, human." "I fight to win," Leo replied, helping her up. "There's honor enough in that." Hazel studied him with new eyes, seeing not the small, weak creature she'd expected, but something more dangerous, an adaptable predator who turned disadvantages into strategy. "Very well, Leo Chen," she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the arena. "You have overcome me. The bond is accepted." As the crowd erupted in cheers and shouts, Hazel leaned close enough that only Leo could hear. "Teach me this human way of fighting. I suspect I have much to learn from you." Leo smiled, exhausted and exhilarated. "Only if you teach me why a warrior refuses a bond she knows will bring honor." "Because honor given is worthless," Hazel replied. "Honor earned is everything. Welcome to the Red Cliffs, husband." And in that moment, two warriors from different worlds found common ground in the most human of principles: respect earned through adversity, and bonds forged through challenge overcome.